Hello and welcome everyone to part 21 of the web development with Python in Django. In the recent tutorials, I show you how to migrate your SQLite database to a remote server PostgreSQL database and how to use Google to authenticate users. Specifically, I used a vultr provider. And finally, we came to the part where I'll show you how to migrate your Django project to the development server. So in this part, I'll work on the same server to migrate our whole project to remote server and prepare it for production use as I used with my PostgreSQL tutorial. Out of the box, Django has a built-in build server that is used locally. However, it is not suitable for production environments because it's single-threaded and lacks security measures. So in this part, I will teach you how to deploy a Django application with Nginx, Gunicorn, PostgreSQL, and Let's Encrypt SSL on Ubuntu server. And as you can see, I'm showing you right now the demonstration how Django works in a production environment. As you can see, on the left side there is a client, then there is an Nginx client, Gunicorn, and finally there is a Django. So this means right now we use only clients and Django. So we'll need to implement this Nginx, Gunicorn, and whole communication between them. To complete this tutorial, you'll need a domain and a hosting. For hosting, I use vultr. And specifically for this tutorial, I bought a domain on the Namecheap website. Also, you can deploy it on pure IP address without domain while skipping the SSL security step. So as you can see, in the previous tutorial where I showed you how to deploy to PostgreSQL, I show you how to create this kind of server. And I'll use the same server with all the same details. And here is the IP, password, root, and etc. So my goal here is to SSH to my new user, to following IP root user. I open my VS Studio and I connect current window to the host. And I called my host Django tutorial. I click on it and I will be asked for a password, and password is this one. Okay, let's paste this and I'll be connected to a new project. Okay, I'll create a new terminal, I'll open as a root. But it's not recommended to create and deploy a project on the root user. It's recommended to create another user, so that you're gonna use for all the deployment. So to do so, I do create a new user and use it as add user, and we'll call it Django. New password, it's up to me what password I'll give. Full name is Django, then it's nothing else, and we create this user. So now, right now we created this user, but will not be able to install things on that user. To do so, we need to add this user a new privileges. So to do so, I create sudo usermod, and this will be -ag, and sudo Django. Cool. This means that we added a privileges for this new user. Right now we can switch to it, and I'll try to log in to another user that I call Django. And as you can see, everything works, same IP, and I type my new password I created before. That's amazing. Now, we created this kind of user, and we're gonna open a new directory where it's Python Django home directory. That's cool. And type again the password. Cool. Because we'll do everything in the Python virtual environment, we need to install it on our Ubuntu server. To do so, we type a sudo apt-get install python 3 virtual environment. My password, that's fine. Yes. And let's wait to finish. Because this is continuation of my tutorial series, I'm using my own GitHub repository to make deployment. When creating a new project, it's slightly more straightforward because you don't need to work around with static and media files. So I'll git clone my previous whole tutorial. As you can see, there is 21 tutorial, and the last one is Django deployment. So I clone this and I go back to my code, git clone, everything is cool. It was pretty quick and easy, and now I can switch to it. This Django does, but I need to switch to this kind of branch. KO, I switch to Django. There's Django tutorials. That's right. Let's switch to it. Password. Now I need to check the git branch, but I don't have any, so I need to install it. So I scroll to git graph, install the git graph, cool, and there is a Python, install it also as extension. And when it's finished installing this kind of git graph, it will be way easier for me to switch between the branches in the git. So now I'm on my main branch, but I switched to tutorial 21, and when I finish this tutorial, I'll merge this into the main branch, so you won't need to do so. Right now I switch to this new branch, and I need to open this folder, right? So Django tutorials, and here is a new branch, Django deployment. Cool. Let's switch to it. My password. In the previous tutorial, we were working on Windows, and now it's a little bit different. In the last tutorial, we were using the PostgreSQL database instead of SQLite. To support the PostgreSQL database, Windows uses the psycob2 library, and Linux doesn't support it. Instead, it needs psycob2 binary, so we need to change the requirements to the following. Psycob2, and here is a binary. This is my Google authentication stuff, that's cool. And here is a Gunicorn. Okay, and now I can create a virtual environment. So I type source bin setup Ubuntu sh. That's nice. This creates me a new virtual environment. I'll switch it directly, and it will install all the requirements to me. That's nice. Here I can show you. This is fine. It's working on this stuff. And after it finished, we'll try to run our server to make sure that it works. To do so, I'll write a Python manage.py and run server on 000 and 8000. Cool. And if I open my browser, it should work. That's cool. As you can see, I run the server on SSH, but I can access it locally. But well, this is how the system works. And we are happy. This is like a first step completed. Let's continue with Gunicorn. The main implementation platform for Django is WSGI. This one stands for Web Server Gateway Inference and is standard for serving Python applications on a website. When we generate a new project using the start project command, Django creates this kind of file inside our project directory. So if I'll open my Django website, and there is this WSGI script. So we can test if our installed Gunicorn can serve this project. To do so, I close my server and I type Gunicorn and I bind it on 000 8000. Django website WSGI. Okay, it worked, and if I open my browser, if I refresh, everything works, except we don't have this kind of CSS stuff we want to see. But that's not a problem, we'll fix this alone. Now we'll create a robust mechanism for Gunicorn to communicate with the Django application. Gunicorn uses its own sock file to talk to other parts of the process. Sock files are Unix domain sockets used by process to communicate. I prefer to keep the source file in verilog Gunicorn so Nginx can access it easily. But to do so, we need to create a directory there. So for now, I'll close the project, I'll open a new file, and keep in mind, we have a sudo privileges here. So I'll create a var log, and here is a Gunicorn keep attention not to make any mistakes. We start by creating a systemd socket file for Gunicorn. Systemd file is a system file that will run your application automatically. So instead of running the command with Gunicorn every time and watching your app, you will let the systemd file to manage that for you. Even if the server goes down for maintenance, if there is a power outage, you don't have to worry about restarting your application. The systemd file will take care of that for you. So to do so, I'm issuing the following command: sudo nano etc systemd. Then there's a system, and there's a unicorn.socket. Cool. And here I'll copy some lines not to make any mistakes, and you can copy this from my text version tutorial. Of course, I'll add there everything step by step. Cool. So next we need to create a systemd service file for Gunicorn with also another command. So instead of socket, I'll call it service. So right now I'll again use a copy paste stuff to make it easier for me. I'll make it a little larger for you. So here is the Gunicorn daemon, and here you'll need to make attention to user Django group double data, and here is my other details that I need to change. So it's 21, not 20. 21. Yeah, that's fine. So you'll need to change your user, work directory, execution start location, and well, keep attention not to make any mistakes. And if you are expert, you can Google how to add more stuff here if you need. Right now, I'll exit this. I'll click save, and that's everything is cool. So right now, I'll issue another command to start my socket. Start unicorn.socket. No errors, everything is cool. Next, I issue an enable command. Created a system link for me. You can check for the status of the Gunicorn socket with another command, and we'll issue a status here. And as you can see, it shows me a status of active listening. And that's exactly what we were expecting to get. At this step, ensure everything works and your service is running with a status active as for me. Otherwise, fix your errors before moving to another step. Every time you make changes to your Python files, if you want to add or update any project file, you'll need to restore the systemd file with the sudo systemctl daemon reload and daemon restored Gunicorn commands. But don't worry, I'll post this stuff in my text version tutorial, so it will be way easier to follow my text version tutorial. And if the output shows an error, you probably misconfigured something, so check the logs to find out. Run the command. Well, I can add the command in another line. Here is a sudo journal ctl -u Gunicorn to check whether the logs, but as you can see, there is no logs, so it means everything was kinda okay with my Gunicorn stuff. So let's continue. We finished here with working with the Gunicorn, and now we can move to the setting up the Nginx package. First, I need to mention that Nginx is a web server focused on high parallelism, performance, and low memory usage. This package also acts as a reverse proxy that receives HTTP requests and forwards them to different host applications. When we serve a website, we need to serve dynamic content and static files like CSS, JavaScript, and media files. Although Gunicorn can serve static files, but it adds unnecessary HTTP requests. So it is recommended to set up a web server like Nginx in front of it. So let's start by installing this kind of package, and we do this by sudo apt-get install Nginx. Yep, let's install it. Since Nginx will be serving our static and media resources, it's recommended to set static root to make Nginx easily accessible. So in our project settings, we'll modify several lines. So I open this, I minimize it, I open my settings.py, and here is a debug.equal to true. I'll set it to false. Then I'll set allowed hosts to all, and then I need to set a static root. So static root will be equal to os.path.join. And there should be a base directory, and it should be a static. That's cool. Because it's production server, we set the debug mode to false, and we set that our static files will be generated with the project files. We need to export the static assets with Django. So we'll issue the collect static command that will copy the static files from all applications and will save them in the static root directory. So I do open a terminal and write a Python manage.py, and there's a collect static command, and keep attention here. Here should appear a new static folder here. So right now there's too many things in my repository because of these collecting statics. It are 10,000s. So I'll add this to my git ignore stuff, not to add them. So it will be static. Let's ignore this folder. That's cool. Now we create and open a new server block at Nginx accessible sites directory. Right now in my example it's called Django website without O, because I forgot this on my first tutorial. So simply I'll issue a command sudo nano, and it will be etc Nginx, then sites available, and here will be Django website, the same as my project. I'll mention it again. Let's click enter, and now I need to copy several things from here to here. I mean, it's listen on port 80, and server name will be equal to this kind of IP, because that's my IP of my server, as you can see. That's cool. We save it, click it yes, and that's cool. So be sure to change IP. When we finished, save and close the file. We can now enable the file by linking it to the sites enable directory. So I'll copy this command not to make any mistakes. So it is sudo ln-s, and this the direction to this kind of file and to another sites enable directory. So I press enter, and this should be great. Next, we need to test and make sure there is no errors. So I issue a command nginx -t. Everything is successful and there is no errors. And if it was successful, we go forward and restart the Nginx server so that changes can take place. So I issue a command sudo systemctl restart Nginx. Oh, if you have the firewall activated, allow Nginx to access it. So sudo ufw allow, and it will be Nginx full. Nice, rule added. Now we need to check whether our Nginx service is successfully running. So same as before, instead of restart, I'll check the system status Nginx. It's active and running, so everything is fine here. Now we can go to our IP on a browser, and the application should be running there. Otherwise, you made something wrong in your configuration and you must find where is the problem. So okay, let's go to my website. I copy this IP and I paste it here, and I'll add the port that is thousands, or not 8,000, I not, maybe it's 80. So as you can see, it doesn't work for me. This means I made a mistake somewhere. So I guess I made a mistake in my Gunicorn service. So I need to get back to it and check whether it is, because our Nginx is running just fine. So I open it, and as you can see, my project Django deployment is named, and here is Django deploy. So this means I made a wrong path. I need to add Django deployment. Django deployment. That's cool. And I need to exit it. Now let's restart our Gunicorn socket. So I type sudo systemctl daemon reload, and now restart Gunicorn. Nice. And yep, let's go back to my website. Let's hit refresh. Still doesn't work. What might be wrong here? I can't see full. It still uses Django deploy for some reason. I'm not sure why, so let's try to restart Gunicorn service. Okay, let's see if it works. Still the same. So, sorry for this. I didn't want to record this how I search for mistake, but actually there was a mistake in my Gunicorn service file. So I had to enter the sudo nano atc blah 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 to my Gunicorn, and there was a problem with the path to my directory. So that's why I said these are very important rules to what need to do. So I did a mistake and I had to invest additional 10 minutes to find this mistake. It's real hard, but right now if I go back to my website and I hit refresh on my IP, as you can see, I'm able to access it, and that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. By the way, there's another thing here that we need to control our firewall rules. And if I enter this rule, actually you can see that I enabled the SSH, I enabled the port 80 and port 443 that we'll use for our HTTPS access, and also I enabled my PostgreSQL for my personal IP, not to be able to access from different sites, and same I enabled SSH only for my IP. All other things are dropped. So this means only users who are trying to access port 80 and 43 will be able to access my website. That's cool. So right now we made our Django server work on host machine and we can access it through our browser. But there is a problem. Media and CSS are not working. To fix this, we'll add several lines to our configurations. So basically, let's go back to my code here. I close this stuff service and I open my Nginx service file. So basically, here is the problem that I need to add the location to my static root. So for example, here is my path to my static files. So I'll need to add this somewhere here, and I'll add this not like this, and here is a location, and this will be a static location, and we close this also like that. Shit, I hate this nano editor. And here will be my directory to my static file. So it will be a root, and I paste my Django project deployment. That's nice. And I say I need to do the same with location for my media. And I'll create a media location, and here will be root to my media location, and I'll close this just like that simply. And now let's close these. In my opinion, that's enough and this should work. Let's save it. Cool. And now let's restart our Nginx package service. So sudo systemctl restart Nginx. That's nice. And let's check my browser. It's still running, but there is no static files available for me. So And if you don't see your application running, there must be some wrong configuration in the server block. So check the Nginx logs to fix the problem. To check the logs, you can sudo kind of var log nginx and error log, and you can see that I don't have a permission to access my static and media files. And here comes the problem that this is why I can't see it on my website. So we told Nginx the path to our static and media files. Nginx runs in our directory. So if you can't access an Nginx user in that directory, it will fail. So we need to make sure that www user can write to username test static. So we can confirm this by checking this in our terminal. So here mainly I'll need to copy the static path, copy path, and here I'll issue a sudo -u www data, and here will be a stat and home Django. As you can see, there is a permission denied here. In general, www data does not have the rights to cd to other users' home directories. So the best solution in this case would be to add this user to username group. So I'll add this www data user to Django user group. So to do so, I issue a sudo pass wd -a www data Django. Okay, it tells me it's adding its user to Django group, and if I issue the same command as before, as you can see, it allowed me to access this kind of directory. To take effect these changes, let's restart our Nginx service. Sudo nginx -s reload. Okay, again, my mistake. Okay, Nginx reload, and if we'll refresh our website, we should see the difference. So let's go back to my website. Sorry, not like that. Here I hit refresh, and cool, now everything works. Our media and CSS file works, we have IP and etc. Everything is just amazing. Great. Now we can continue, and you can continue only if you have the domain already. So first we should check whether our domain is configured correctly and linked to the correct IP address. So to do so, we usually go to main settings. Here is my pylessons.com. And here's pylessons.me. This is the new domain I created specifically for this tutorial. And if I open this, there is advanced DNS. And here should be my IP configured as www and ATA. And that's exactly what I need for now. Next, I need to go to my code. And here I issue another command, sites available, Django. And you remember, we typed here our IP. So right now I'll type my domain name. It will be pylessons.me and www.pylessons.me. Save it, restart, that's cool. And that's simple as always. Now we need to restart the Nginx service. Cool, reload. And now let's try to access our page with our domain name. Let's go back to browser, and instead here, let's refresh this, and it doesn't allow me to access this. Let's type pylessons.me. Oh yeah, it worked. I don't know, maybe it needed some kind of time to refresh everything, and that's nice. It works. As you can see, I can even sing now, and that's exciting how well it goes. And last thing left, as you can see, it tells me that it's not secured, and that's the problem. No one wants to visit sites that is not secured. So I must mention that I'll right now use the Let's Encrypt free certification platform, and we'll issue an SSL certificate. You can use these SSL certificates to protect application traffic to Django or other system. So Let's Encrypt has a built-in automated installer called Certbot, with a Certbot that helps us easily add certificate to our website in a minute. To do so, first we'll install Canbox and Nginx package. So let's go back to my code, and here I'll issue sudo apt-get install python 3 certbot Nginx. Nice, it's installing, that's amazing. Now, CureBot is able to automatically to configure the SSL for Nginx, but it needs to find the appropriate server block in your configuration. This is done by looking for the server name directive that matches the domain you are requesting a certificate for. So make sure you set the correct name in the site's available Django website file. Now we can get the SSL certificate by issuing the following command. So I type sudo cert bot ---nginx -d, it's pylessons.me, and -d www.pylessons.me. I must mention that for this stuff you must have a domain name. It doesn't work for specifically for the IP, because you can't find the IP protected websites. That's the rule. And that is, let's issue this kind of command. Let's see, enter email address used for urgent renewal. So type the correct email here. So my email is python_0@gmail.com. Cool. And now press yes. Now press yes. It tells that it's requesting for certificate. Okay, what I type here, pylessons.me and pylessons.me. Oh, it's for www. That's bad. Let's go back to our browser. Let's try to refresh this kind of page. Yeah, I don't have a certification yet. I need to find what's wrong here. Okay, it means there was some kind of problem with typing. I mean, mistake. As I said, usually these things are very sensitive to any character mistake. This is why you usually face this kind of issues. So once setup is complete, these configurations will be updated and Nginx will be reloaded to pick up new settings. CureBot will exit with a message indicating that the successful process where your certificates are stored. So make sure to enable HTTPS in your server provider firewall, and at this moment it should already work. But I already mentioned this before, but I want to mention this again. That's it. Now open a browser and go to domain, and you will see a secure SSL connection in our Django application. Let's go. I really, fingers crossed. And that's nice. It's protected, PyLessons, cookies, connection is secure. Amazing, amazing. Certificate is valid. That's excellent. Took us less than an hour to deploy everything from the beginning to the end, and I don't know what else I need to make to show you. So next thing, let's encrypt. Certificates are valid for up to 90 days, and after that you need to update the certificates. The CureBot package includes a script to update existing certificates automatically. You can try a single dry run of the update script like this. I'll show you. So we issue a command sudo CureBot renew, and it will be dry run. Nice. Lessons me configurations. I can't register it, and that's it. It shows that it is simulating some kind of stuff, and it ended, and it tells that it was successful. That's amazing. So CureBot will update your certificates and reload Nginx to accept the necessary changes. If the automatic renewal process ever fails, Let's Encrypt will send a notification to the email you provided. The email will notify you when the certificate expires. And if you don't see any errors, everything is set and should be working, and you don't need to do manual updates to renew any stuff and etc. And that's it for this, I believe. And if I go here, everything works as expected. I can log in to my admin user. Well, I can't log in because there is a captcha stuff that I would need to fix here. To work around this stuff, I can temporarily disable this captcha stuff. And if I go to my forms and user login form, and here is a captcha, I can comment this. And now we need to restore the Nginx sudo systemctl restart Nginx. I think it's enough to restart Nginx, but maybe it also needs a Gunicorn. So let's go to my website. hit refresh, and there's still requirement for this captcha. Restart Gunicorn. I press save, I hope. Gunicorn and Nginx. Let's go back to my website. Refresh. There is no captcha, and I can now log in with a test user. Nice. I can access admin. Before I wasn't allowed. I'm not sure. I need to test why, and whatever. I go back to my website and can check my profile. It's fine. I can enter here. I can create a new post. Whatever I want, I would be able. So that it works the same way as it was working here in my local machine, but now we can do things on our remote machine. So that's it for this tutorial, and this was the last one and related with the Django stuff. Right now I'll go back to the machine learning and artificial intelligence stuff that is mostly interested for people. So if you have followed this tutorial, your site has progressed from its previous standalone development program in Django in the remote, fully available, multi-threaded service deployed somewhere remotely. So now we have a brief understanding of how Django, Gunicorn, and Nginx can come together to help you keep your website safe and fully functional. In this tutorial, we covered and learned many things. For example, how to take your Django application from development to production, how to host your application in real-world public domain, introduce Gunicorn and Nginx into request and response chain, and finally, we worked around with the HTTP headers to increase your site HTTPS security. And now you have a set of reproducible steps for deploying a production-ready Django web application. So you can find all my files in a GitHub link that is written in the description below this video, and use all my tutorials to learn, develop, and etc. And it's the last tutorial related to Django things. If there will be any requests from what I should cover, I'll cover that. Let me know this by leaving message on GitHub or leaving comment under this my YouTube tutorial video. And this is the final one. And of course, I'm excited doing this tutorial series, and I hope you liked it too. If you so, don't hesitate to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, comment if you liked or have any questions, and I hope you'll follow me in the future with other tutorials and videos on YouTube. So thank you again for watching, and see you in our next time. Bye, my friends.